Was a girl running in our group. She had a high-speed motor in a 40 Ford Coupe. She had a racing cam and a supercharged. Look out, buddy, hot rod and large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod.
And this whole electric revolution has made a big difference. And the last time we had electric cars, way back, 20s or 30s, whatever it was, they just didn't make it. This time I think they're going to make it. But I don't think it's going to be as universal as all these politicians want it to be. Let's run this through your head a minute. The electrical cars require charging, and that's expensive, and they require charging system and infrastructure that we do not have in place yet. But the automotive, the internal combustion engines now are so clean and get such good mileage, and then they throw a catalytic converter on there to clean them up even more. What comes out the tailpipe is very, very, very little, anything bad. Mm-hmm. Now, the electric cars, nothing comes out the tailpipe, but what comes out the smokestacks of that plant that builds that electricity? And then it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'm still looking forward to a fuel cell, a breakthrough in the fuel cell, hydrogen. I'm telling you, hydrogen is a cheap gas. You can make it yourself. I can even make it here for Eric if he wanted, but I think he'd be afraid I'd blow him up because it is volatile. Well, it's got to be volatile. We're burning a combustion engine. Let's face it. But I'm going to tell you, don't look for this electric vehicle revolution to happen overnight. No matter what they try to do to us, they're not going to force us to buy something we don't want. It's not going to happen. I know the American people won't put up with it. I don't know about people in other countries. But if it's not a car that if it's not conducive to what I'm going to use it for, if I want to travel all over the country, I can't buy an electric car. The first thing I'd have to do is plot out where all the charging stations are, and there's only so many now. And then I'd have to plot out and hope that make that nobody's using that one when I get there, that I don't have to wait to use it. Because it takes 3-4 hours and they're done, and then I got to wait 3-4 hours. So, that could be an overnight stay from going from here to Fort Wayne. And that's just not right. And the American people are not going to, around town, people are going to start looking into electric cars. Yes, they are. Yeah. That's for sure, Eric. They're going to, for the grocery getter and run the kids to school and yada, 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 and bring it home and plug it in, fine. That's going to work just fine. But until they get reliable, safe, let's talk safe a minute. I told you about the house out in St. John. Caught fire when their car was being charged in the garage with a car and a charger supplied by the dealership. I'm not going to name any names. Sure I am. It's a Mustang. I don't know what the dealer was. But anyway, the charger caught fire, burned the house down. We can't, that cannot happen, not even once. It can't happen once. Don't tell me you got to break some eggs to make an omelet. These are people's homes. These are people's lives you're dealing with. What if that caught fire while they were all sleeping at night? Oof. Yeah. You'd have a real mess on your hands. So they've got to figure this out. They've got to get it to where it's safe. That's the whole thing. Nobody is focusing on safety. Everybody's focusing on more range and more speed and hurry up and get it out on the market. And why don't we make it safe? Please. Just please make it safe. That's all I'm asking. Until then, I'll be driving my internal combustion car. And then after that, it'll probably be an internal combustion hydrogen-powered car. Because I can make the hydrogen here in the kitchen, and She Who Will Be Obeyed's kitchen, and she's probably not going to like that, but I'm going to do it anyway.
But what works.
Yeah, that's right. I'll be on. What are you doing, honey? I'm making a tank of gas for our car. All right. We'll get back to these fun things going on. The U.S. auto safety regulators is investigating whether a Ford dealership in New York complied with federal regulations requiring dealers not to deliver a new vehicle with an outstanding safety recall. So these new cars that have safety recalls, they're important. When I tell you it's a 21 or 22, they're still on the lot, some of them. And if you go to buy one, They can't deliver it to you until they've repaired that recall. The NHTSA said it had received information indicating that Healy Brothers Ford in Beacon, New York, sold at least one vehicle to a customer without performing required recall repairs, according to a document released Thursday. Yeah. This was a Escape crossover, which was recalled in August for fuel delivery modules that may risk leak inside the fuel tank, potentially causing an engine stall. The recall affected nearly 14,000 Escape and Lincoln Corsair vehicles from the 2021 model year and 2022 Bronco Sport. Ford notified dealers August 11th, according to the safety recall report. So now you hear you can't sell one that's got an old car that's got a recall. You can't sell a new car that's got a recall. They want you to make these cars safe. The NHTSA is doing its part to try and make these cars safe. But the government is just letting these guys blow, these new manufacturers just all popping up everywhere, throwing these cars out on the street. No idea how any of them are going to charge, how many are going to fare in the heat business. Are they going to? Oh well, I get started on that and it almost kills me, Eric. I just get so mad. The Honda Pilot has an engine failure, and it's crossover after reports of an engine failure. This is why I disable mine in my Ford. The NHTSA's Office of Defects investigation said it has received 221 complaints from you guys, okay, and several field reports from guys like me alleging a defect with the auto stop start feature on Pilot vehicles from 2016 to 19 model years. The safety probe covers an estimated 194,000 vehicles in the U.S., 3 V6 engine, 9-speed automatic transmission from the 2020 model year. This is my sentiment exactly. I have that feature on my car, and I have a button that says disable it, and I disable it. I get in the car, the first thing I do, I start it, and I disable that feature. I don't want to come to a stop, have it turn off, and then step on the gas to go and not have it start. And this is exactly what they're talking about, which is fine if you're not in a big rush hour traffic jam or a crummy neighborhood or whatever. You know, it doesn't depend on where you are. It depends on the inconvenience to you, the driver. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to get me. It's not turning off on me. I'm not letting it. And the GM cars, some of them you can, some of them you can't disable. You have to live with it. The Tesla Autopilot probe has been upgraded again. It now covers 830,000 vehicles. U.S. auto safety regulators have upgraded and extended an investigation into Tesla's Autopilot Advanced Driver Assistance System to cover an estimated 830,000 vehicles made for between 2014 and 2022. So we're going back 8 years until yesterday. Okay. The action comes after the agency in August opened a preliminary evaluation to assess the performance of Tesla's Autopilot after 12 crashes in the United States that resulted in 17 injuries and 1 death. The crashes, now totaling 16, involved Tesla vehicles with autopilot engaged that were driven near first responder scenes and subsequently struck one or more of the stopped emergency vehicles involved with those scenes. I told you they keep running into fire trucks, Eric, and ambulances. For no reason. Maybe Elon Musk doesn't like them guys. In a document released Thursday, the NHTSA's Office of Defects Investigations said it is upgrading the investigation to an engineering analysis to extend the existing crash analysis. This ain't good. This ain't good, as my grandpa used to say. This is not or isn't a very good thing. NHTSA reminds the public that no commercially available motor vehicles today are capable of driving themselves. So I can't go out and buy a commercial vehicle and let it drive itself around town. It won't let me do that. And that's probably a good thing, because I know I would. Just to drive it, let it drive around town, not with me in it. A defective battery pack caught fire over the weekend at the Rivian Automotive Inc. plant in Normal, Illinois, leading to the evacuation of the portion of the plant where battery packs are tested for the automaker's electric vehicles. Electrek reported this on Tuesday. The cause was under investigation. According to the Normal Fire Department, firefighters arrived at the plant at 10:38 a.m., where they found a battery pack in thermal runaway, whatever that means. Temperature runaway. That means it had overheated and caught fire. Okay. It's a fancy way of saying it popped. Firefighters connected hoses to standpipes inside the building and extinguished the battery pack fire, and then you continued to flow water on the pack to keep it cool to prevent further thermal runaway from occurring, the department said in a statement. So in other words, they kept pumping water on that sucker so it wouldn't get hot and light up again, because lithium-ion batteries have a tendency to light up again, and we don't need that, not at all. That's not a good thing, not a good thing at all. I've talked to several firefighters out here in Lansing, and they have no information on putting out a lithium-ion battery fire. There's nothing out there. So we've got these batteries, we're stuffing them in cars as fast as we can and putting them out on the road. Good old Elon and the rest of the boys are just packing the streets with these electric vehicles, and nobody knows anything about them. How to put the fire out. Hell, the fire started in the plant. On this one, it had a runaway heat problem. It got hot. It popped. It made a mess. They had to keep water on it for like 24 hours to keep it from reigniting. What is going on here? Why can't we figure this out first? Who put the cart before the horse here? Eric, you got to have safety before you can have mass production. Oh boy, there's a word. Yeah. Anyway, you got to have safety first.
No, 100%.
I don't understand how they're getting away with this. That people, these things are happening, just keep pumping those cars out there.
God forbid, like there's a car accident on the expressway with these batteries, and it's not only, scary for the driver, but also the person who got hit. How quickly will that fire will ignite to your engine?
Oh, absolutely. And you're sitting in the car. I'm telling you. And here, the very first, in this area that I live in, called the Calumet region, I know of maybe 3 electric cars I've seen. And the one I know about is the Mustang that caught fire in the garage. And I don't even know about that one. That came from a friend of mine that lives next door down the street.
That's crazy.
So it's a true story, but I don't get it. If there's only so many of these cars here, and we're already having electrical fires in houses.
Yep.
It's time to rethink this, guys. It's really time to rethink this. Here's the deal. I am all for electric cars. I am so much for the future. It is so cool. I think it's great. I couldn't be happier with what they're doing to evolve and keep it clean for the planet. I mean, if eventually they're going to use solar power and they're going to use wind power, I don't think that's going to work. They're going to have to go back to nuclear power and use it for a lot of things. But anything but coal power, it's just tough. But even if you're just using coal power, I suppose it stinks up the air a little less than these dirty old cars. But the dirty old cars aren't dirty old cars anymore. They're really sophisticated with the new systems and the fuel injection and all that. They're pretty doggone clean, almost as clean as your electric car. Yeah. And that's, and they don't take a lot of fracking to get the lithium to make the batteries either. That's just terrible. The effect on the environment to mine lithium has got to be the worst. But I feel that the electric vehicle is your future. I'm never poo-pooing the electric vehicle. Don't take it wrong. When I put everything out there for you. I put all the good and all the bad out there for you. You read it, you listen to it, you chew on it for a while, then you decide what you think you want to do about buying a car. But I'm not going to tell you what one way or the other. But there's so many reports here every week about the problems that they're not addressing. And that's my problem, Eric. I don't see our country and our car business, my beloved car business, addressing the actual problems. Their big thing is get these cars on the road as fast as they can.
Save the environment as quickly as you can.
Well, they think they're doing that, but I don't know if they are. We don't have any infrastructure yet. We're going to have to find some electricity somewhere.
Right.
This is not going to. They just had a power outage in California again.
They did.
And I don't know if it's because everybody plugged their electric car in or what, but they had a power outage. And they have them all the time up there about the San Francisco area, down in San Diego. They have them all the time. Here's another report. Many people are doing investigative reporting on the electric car business, and this is one of them, Automotive News. The public electric vehicle chargers fast chargers are less reliable than reported. A study of electric vehicle fast charger stations in California, my favorite state, found far more chargers were not functioning properly than providers have said. A concern as the U.S. prepares to invest $5 billion in its charging network. Remember how the vandals used to tear up the payphones? I wonder if they're going to do that to electric chargers. They probably get zapped when they do. Public electric vehicle charging infrastructure is not as reliable as many providers claim, according to the study of electric vehicle heavy California. A study of 657 connectors at 181 public direct current fast charger stations in the San Francisco Bay Area found about 23% of them to be non-functioning. That's a fourth of them. That's a fourth of the chargers not working. You can't have that. That's not going to work at all. The finding by researchers with the University of California, Berkeley, paints a different picture from the 95 to 98% uptime that charging system providers have claimed. David Rempel, a Berkeley professor, said one of the study's authors told Automotive News this. Rempel said, "Do you really expect electric vehicle drivers to go to one charger, call the 1-800 number because it's not working, and then spend 45 minutes going from one charger to the next and be happy with that? I wouldn't think so. You better hope he didn't get to the charger just in time to charge it because he's got no other way to go, and the charger don't work." That'd be my luck. I got to get to a phone booth, get a phone. I grab the phone, it's out of order, or the wire's cut, or something stupid, vandalism. The report comes as the federal government, aiming for rapid electric vehicle adoption, they're the ones doing it, over the course of the decade, prepares to distribute $50 billion over the next 5 years to build out the nation's charging network. It's not going to work. Not yet. They got to get out there. I can imagine, and can you imagine the vandals tearing up these things? And here I am in my electric car, and I just barely make it to the charging station, and that one doesn't work. So now what do I do? Better hope there's one right next to it, or maybe one across the parking lot, because I don't have enough juice to get much further. What are you going to do? You're stuck. Yeah. Call a tow truck. I'll tell you what, if the electric vehicles, if they continue with the pace they're going, I might retire and buy myself a tow truck. There's going to be good money in towing people back home to get them charged up. I think there's going to be a lot of that going on. Huh. Trust me, towing companies are going to be the winners of the future. And they're not going to use electric trucks. Trust me.
I'll help you run that business, bro.
Isn't that good? That sounds like a big winner.
That doesn't sound like a bad idea.